Hey, hi, hello there. So I'm writing mom, Samantha Nasset, and this is my channel where I like to talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. As many of you may notice, I did not have a countdown or an official intro for this video or anything, and the reason why is kind of why I wanted to make this video in the first place. So around the beginning of January, my anxiety, like my PMDD symptoms started flaring up. For anybody who's new or doesn't particularly know, along with talking about writing and parenting, I am very open and I discuss my health and everything because that plays a major factor in both my parenting and my writing ability. Well, and my ability to get writing done, right? Just existing, health is a very big part of that. Well, PMDD, while I constantly forget what the words actually stand for, is like super PMS. It's basically it leading up to the actual like period. It creates a lot of anxiety. It can create depression, withdrawal, make it really hard to socialize. Before I started taking medication for it, it completely like destroyed my self-confidence and everything, and it was absolutely like it was dreadful. It was terrible. But I have been medicated for it for several years now. I want to say 3 years at least. I don't think I developed it until 2022 or 2023, somewhere around that time. On top of that, I have had chronic migraines since I was 16 years old. I have another video on my channel talking about my history with migraines, from my misdiagnosis to finally being diagnosed to spending like 2, 3 years trying to find a medication that worked at all. Well, last year, I've talked about this a lot on live streams and such, but my migraines were getting worse last year, just like steadily worse. I didn't feel alone though, because as unfortunate as it was, everybody I knew who had migraines or other chronic illnesses, their chronic illnesses were also flaring up even worse. I went to my doctor and talked to him about it and felt incredibly validated when he unprompted told me that he had several other patients with chronic migraines whose migraines had also been worse. So the plan was to see a neurologist and try to get on a new treatment. That was before the PMD and everything got worse. And along with that, like my anxiety ramped up. I cried almost every day. And for people who know me, like that's very unusual. While like my family and I like to joke that if I get too mad I cry, or if I like get too sad I cry, or because I'm a person of big emotions, I don't actually cry that often. So yeah, to cry like almost every day, and I was just a mess. So, and I wasn't sleeping. Like my sleep schedule has always been a topic, a point of, I don't want to say like mocking or anything, but it's just something my family and my friends have always teased me about, because I am one of those people who I'm a night owl. I don't typically sleep before 2, 3 in the morning, and then I get up generally before 10. But like that's still 6, 7 hours of sleep, and that's always been fine for me. But like I just wasn't sleeping at all. I like could not fall asleep, and when I did fall asleep, I could not stay asleep. The insomnia, my apologies. The insomnia was just absolutely terrible. And it was wreaking havoc, right? Cuz if you can't get proper sleep, everything else gets worse, right? Mental health, physical health, it all gets worse. Proper sleep, like good sleep, restful sleep, doesn't fix everything, but it does like help a lot. It cannot be understated how much sleeping can help things. Well, I was, oh my god, I I'm trying not to get emotional, like thinking and talking about it, because I couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't sleep. My migraines were so bad, I could barely get out. I couldn't even get out of bed most of the time. Like, my husband was taking on a lot of what are generally my tasks, because he works, he has a full-time job, but then when he was home on his days off, he'd do the things that I'm supposed to do, because that's my thing. I stay at home, I take care of the kids and that in the house and stuff, but I wasn't doing that a lot. And thankfully our kids are like almost teenagers, so they don't need nearly as much tending to, but like I still need to make them food and stuff, and they actually started helping me do a lot of the cooking. But that just made me feel more guilty, more miserable and everything, and it was, well, finally, um, my final hope was I looked into, because I am 35, I'm almost 36, and my mother started going through menopause in her mid 30s, from what I had remembered. So I was looking, I was hoping, like I was desperate that this is what it was. Well, technically, no, one does not go through menopause the way that I had always been explained to it, because menopause is not diagnosed until a year after, right? Like, you haven't had any like symptoms or any periods or something for like a year, and then congratulations, you've menopaused. But there is something called periomenopause, which can last anywhere from 6 months to 10 years. And that is the transition period through it. And during periomenopause, one can get anxious, like severe anxiety, the hot flashes, then sudden chills, the depressive episodes, insomnia. When I looked it up, so many people were talking about how like the insomnia was the worst for them. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to make this video was because I discovered that, much like chronic migraines, because when you tell somebody, hey, I have chronic migraines, still some people, they'll be like, oh, so just really bad headaches. And I was a little afraid that that's kind of how people would approach it if I was like, hey, I think I'm starting menopause. And it's like, oh, so like hot flashes, and you're just going to be like a little moody and stuff. And that, it just doesn't do justice to what is going on. It's like, yes, I had mood swings. My poor husband has had to deal with the mood swings. And it's like, it's literally like one moment I'll be joking with him, and, I'll be like, hey, this, that. And then the next moment I'm like crying and telling him, I'm like, like, I feel like I'm the worst person in the world. Or like, I feel like I'm so useless and I'm nothing but a burden. And it's, and then 10 minutes later, I'm okay again. I'm perfectly happy. And it's like, it's just, it's a lot to deal with. And it's, he has not complained at all. My husband has been absolutely great through this and stuff, but it's been a lot. And when I called and I asked my mom, and my mom had put me on speaker, and my mom and my dad, they like, basically, my dad was like, you sound a lot like what your mom went through when she started menopause. And it turns out that my mom's migraines had gotten worse, and then she had seen a neurologist at 35, 36. So it's like almost identical and stuff. But at the time I was 16, and she didn't want to, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't need to tell your kids absolutely everything. And so this is just one of those things where my mom was like, well, I'll just deal with it. And so she didn't explain that to us and stuff. So I didn't know that she had gone through a lot of what she was going through. And the universe timing, my darling internet child, Stevie, she knows that I've been going through a lot of this. And she actually sent me a TikTok, because they're making a documentary on periomenopause because of how much misinformation and is out there and everything. And it's only because of social media and women talking about it and stuff that they're finding out just how the symptoms like go, like you go to the doctor and it's just like, oh well, it's just anxiety or it's just depression or it's just this or that. uh yeah, so as far as my plan goes, I do have a doctor's appointment on Monday to try to talk to him because my dad suggested that I get into the doctor as soon as possible to see if I can get stuff to help me sleep. Now, I have been able to sleep more since then, and my mom actually recommended some great chamomile tea that has helped me sleep a little bit as well. And as I have always tried to stream on Monday, like y'all know that I have pushed through so much so that I could stream and hang out with my friends and my community and everyone on Mondays. And as many Wednesdays as can be had, though those were started being less frequent. But there have been, I want to say half of January I have canceled Monday lives because I was tired and I was like, well, if I can sleep, I need to sleep now for my health. And so I really just wanted to let all of you know what was going on, because that is probably going to keep happening. I can hope that once I see a doctor and a neurologist and my OB, I'm going to everybody to see what can be done and what can make it easier to deal with, that I'll be able to stream again a lot on Mondays, and that Whip Wednesday will, that's the other part that I didn't talk about, because like right now I'm very like I've been planning this in my head, so it's all, but the brain fog is also horrendous. Like it's never been this bad. Like all of my symptoms that I've been dealing with, that my medication has been helping with. Some days I feel like I haven't even been taking medication at all, which I have. I've been taking my meds and they do help a little. It's just there's only so much they can do. And life, you move from one stage into another stage, and it always feels like there's something, and all we can really do is adapt to the new stages. And part of me adapting is unfortunately having to be more like, I don't want to phrase it. I hate canceling streams because I want to hang out with y'all and I want to get stuff done. And it is not that I hate putting my health first. I just hate that it has to be done. But yeah, I will continue to plan my monthly stream, my weekly. I will continue to plan my weekly streams, post my weekly schedule, and I hope, I know it's going to kill me in the algorithm. The algorithm is going to absolutely hate this, but I I will post, when I plan to go live, and I'll try to post updates about when like book talks get rescheduled, and maybe I'll even try to start doing some pop-up streams instead of just strictly scheduled with Wednesdays, so that I can still, I can get 3 hours when I'm feeling good, and try to work it that way. Be a little looser than I would like to, but still be able to stream and hang out. I know many of you don't use Discord, but for those who do use Discord, my Discord community is completely free, and we try to run sprints in there. Running sprints in my Discord is going to be a lot easier because I can just do that from my bed and like kind of try to work in there, whereas doing it from streams, I have to come in the garage stand and get the whole thing set up. So we got to work with what we got, right? To anybody else out there who might be feeling like this, because I do also know that a lot of my audience is around my age or a little older, or even to those younger and stuff. Just if any of this resonates with you, maybe consider looking into it for yourself. And hey, we're all here for each other. Uh, I'm not going to have a countdown or a fade out intro. What I am not putting into this video is killing me on the inside, but trying to make the intro and the outro at the moment it was starting to majorly trigger anxiety, and I wanted to get this video done while I had the energy, the brain power, and everything. So it's very much a do or die. So here we are. I hope you guys enjoy this update, and I hope I'll see you guys in more streams. Bye.